Hi, this is Scrapping Amy with Mommy Scrapping, and welcome to Learning is an Adventure YouTube Hub. I have links to all of the wonderful creations for back to school down below, so check them out and leave comments. Subscribe to all of the different channels. Fabulous inspiration. So this photo is of my daughter starting 6th grade. On the first day of school, I always take her picture by the statue of St. Mark at our school, and with the same style of sign that we've had for years. I'm already trying to think about what I'll be doing when she starts 9th grade and she's not at my school anymore. Field trip is, for me, an obvious choice for this. I'm going to focus on 3 of the colors, that light pink, the dark blue, and the aqua. Other colors will show up in there, but those are going to be my 3 primary ones. And I already pulled Nuvo drops, although I do change the pink out for the lighter pink. There are tiny little chevrons on this blue paper, and I'm trying to, I wanted the chevrons to face up, but if I did that, I covered up lots of the blue and aqua and then had lots of orange and yellow and red showing. And so since I was trying to minimize that, I ended up turning it sideways. Now these are some offcuts from another layout I did, actually also of Elizabeth's with her locker on the, when she got to go set up her locker for open house. So I want to incorporate some of those scraps because then I don't have to cut into brand new sheets of paper, which I don't have a problem with, but if I've got something that will work, I want to use it. And also, obviously, that triangle pattern there is going to be on the facing page. What I don't like about that rectangular piece is that there is the yellows and purples and maroons kind of showing up at the top, or on that right side towards the top. So I decided I'm going to end up putting some layers tucked in specifically there, so that way that part gets covered up. As I was flipping through and looking at the cut aparts, this one card that says, oh, I can't read it upside down. Let me grab my layout. I forgot to pull it over here anyways. Curiosity knows no bounds. I wanted to include that on there, and that's why I ended up deciding to include the pink, since that card is very pink. It has the red and the green and it has black in it, but the phrase, I think, felt like the most important thing there. So that's going to go over some of those triangles on the edge that I don't like. When I laid the photo with the mats down on the navy paper, it felt like with the black space background that it kind of like blurred together. So I pulled out some of the, I just lost my the ledger paper. She calls it between classes. It's got the lots of rainbow animal type things on the other side and different motifs. So I cut into that whole sheet. So I don't mind cutting into whole sheets, but if I can help it, I don't want to. This is where I struggled a little bit though, is trying to cover up those bottom ones. I'm like, okay, I've got to have a die cut for this. And I kind of do. That bottom one that's books would work perfectly. I don't want it though. So would that little piece that's like notebook paper. But then I've got the light blue on the light blue, and the Viewmaster card was perfect, except then I'm adding more of the colors I'm trying to cover up. I have the same light blue problem with that sunburst thing right there. And I decided I'm going to cut out the dinosaur first, and then I can journal there. And then I realized, wait a second, I actually like the composition book pattern, and I'm not really going to use this ray gun for anything. So I'm going to use the composition notebook side, and I'm going to trim it down. I have a 2.5 inch rectangle and a 1.5 inch rectangle. And again, I'm going back and forth and finally decide to go with the 1.5 inch one. And I even glue it down. And then I started adding my title and ran into more problems. The thickers I'm using for my title to go underneath it say hope, dream, and work hard, which are all things she needs to do starting middle school. And I wanted to use those are from Box of Crayons because she changed uniforms going into middle school and now wears navy with khaki instead of a hunter green shirt with navy bottoms. So I wanted to focus on the blue of the shirt. And hope looks fine up there. It's when I go to pull off this dream that I go, oh yeah, can't really read that. I mean, it's hard enough to read sometimes on camera, even though you can read it in person. But in person, even, it was difficult to read. So I pull out my scraps, and I'm like, there has to be something I overlooked in here. Thankfully, there was. I end up thinking about this pink ledger paper that's on the bottom of the journaling pad that has the scene on it. And that's why I'm like, this is right now my best bet. I have a couple ones. I really like this mosaic tile look, but then I end up with the same problem. You still can't read Dream. You can read it better than you can on the composition book. I like this library card. Dream shows up, but I would have to tuck so much of the library card in because I wouldn't want the words to go sideways. I just want it to be like the color and the lines, and that would kind of drive me crazy. Here's what I end up going with. This conglomerate rock looking paper with everything stuck together. Dream shows up beautifully. It incorporates the blues, the aquas, and the pinks that I wanted. It has a little bit of the orange and the green and the red. Not a problem. Those are showing up in other places anyway, so it's kind of nice to have that. I actually end up adding in more green and yellow in another spot. So I just trim this card down. I don't worry about using my trimmer simply because that end is going to get tucked underneath anyways. And actually, what's on the back is the pink ledger paper from the 12 by 12 sheet. And it's the same pink that I was going to use that came from the journaling pad before I found this conglomerate paper. What is the name of that conglomerate paper? It's called In the Wild. So I'm pulling my thickers from Box of Crayons. Dream and Hope and Dream were one phrase, and then Work was another one, and I wanted to incorporate the two together. And then obviously I wanted to put hard on there, work hard. So I'm pulling pink, aqua, and blue chipboard thickers from Box of Crayons also. It's not like an absolute perfect match with that brighter blue, but it works. Anything darker would have been harder to read on there, and they didn't make an Aqua D because I have a couple packs of these thickers and I was willing to open up a new pack just so I could get the right colors, and it's just like, no, it's not working. This is where I decide I'm switching out the pink. This pink, had carnation pink and it was too bright. The one I go with ends up being bubblegum blush, and it's a much closer match to that pink. These are clear acrylic pieces that I picked up from Tuesday Morning a while ago. And I think they're supposed to be things that coordinate with Starshine. But there's nothing on there that makes it look like it belongs to Starshine. It just looks like random American Crafts embellishments with Shamil's face on it. So I'm thinking it's Starshine, but I don't know. All right, so now I'm like, I need more. Like, this layout does not look right to me yet. I need some more embellishment clusters. So I end up going to this 12 by 12 sticker sheet. And I'm pulling out some of the words. So the pink words I'm doing right now say the best. There, I put them at the top. I eventually move them. But at the bottom, it's a little navy sticker with the word Wednesday in green. Wednesday, we start school on a Wednesday, which, let me tell you, as a teacher, is amazing. I am so totally happy with school starting on a Wednesday. And here's where I end up pulling in that composition notebook strip. I can talk. So that way I know, that way I'm able to use it. That little green piece I'm pulling in, because I have green in other spots, that happened to be something left over from that striped paper you see on the left. I cut something out and ended up cutting off that last little bit of green and saved it because I knew I'd use it for something. And that's why I save all the little bits and pieces, because they make great little things to tuck in. Eventually, if I use up enough stuff, I will just get rid of it. Back to the sticker sheet, and I decided I would just want to pull some of the motifs that could work for school. The microscope is what I noticed first. And then I pulled the camera. So the camera goes over with the pink the best. And the microscope ends up going down by Wednesday. It works. One, it's not random. It's, to me, school related. And her homeroom teacher happens to be the science teacher. The dragonfly, I didn't really like the dragonfly, I have to confess. It's a little too, I don't know, creepy crawly to me. It's not like the little fun, happy dragonflies, if that makes any sense. So it's not my favorite, but it works well. And I think with going with Hope, Dream, and Work Hard, I think it works really well because it's kind of like you're flying away. So I add in some puffy stars. I decide I'm going to put the date on this little purple sticker, and I choose purple because it's in the purple stars, so it doesn't stand out like out of place. I need to move it around. I can never put down a sticker and just leave it on the first try. Like, do I really ever do that often? Adding in some more stars from the sticker pack. And then I remember there are stars in this clear acrylic embellishment pack. Now the stars in the embellishment pack are like nice, perfect 5-pointed stars. And the ones with field trip are kind of the wonky ones. But it pulls in that clear from the hot air balloon, which is rather random, but works for, dreams, soaring, and all of that. Nuvo drop time, so I am almost done. I end up doing 5 separate clusters of Nuvo drops. I was planning on just doing 3, but then all of the stuff on the right of the photo was so spread out, I figured I would move in and do some more clusters. So the pink is Bubblegum Blush, the aqua is Calming Aqua, and the blue is Midnight Blue, and they are all gloss drops from Nuvo's Crystal Drop line, and the gloss drops are hands down my favorite. I'm just starting to use some of the metallic ones, and I'm liking those a lot. So close-ups are coming up. Check out the links below and have a lovely day. Bye!